In this week's video, I'm going to talk about how you can make sure you're in great shape when you get to that start line. The last thing you want to do is sacrifice weeks and months of training, get yourself in really good shape and then mess it all up at the last minute. So in this video, I'm going to talk about five mistakes that I see people make so you can avoid them and have a brilliant race. Like, and you go, woohoo, the swim's out the way, now I'm going to blast it on the bike. Where's my bike? So the first thing to look at is how you would alter your training in the lead up to an event. Let's assume we just talk about the final week. Sometimes people start to get a bit nervous about the event and think, oh, I need to train harder now so I can get fitter because I'm not prepared. The good news is you can't actually get any fitter when you get to that last week. So whatever level your fitness got, that's what you're going into the race with. If you remember, when we're doing some training, we do something like interval training. You train a little bit harder to push your body a little bit, but then your body has to recover to get fit. So there's no real time for your body to do that. All about just getting your body from where you are to making sure that you're feeling fresh on that race day. If you suddenly just go from, I don't know, 6 or 7 hours a week and then you start doing 2 or 3 hours, you can start to feel a bit sluggish because it's different to what you normally do. So if you can really just back off on the volume, but put a few sprints in there. Strides are good because if you do sprints, there's a small risk you can get injured. But if you just do some strides, so you just increase the pace that you're running at maybe over, say, 30 seconds. So you go from really easy, just increase it. And then keep big gaps in the middle of those sprints as well. So you feel like you're putting effort into your training. You feel like you're still training. But if you keep the period really easy and give yourself time to recover in between those sprints, you're going to get to the start line feeling like you've trained, but you're going to feel recovered and be ready to race. So that's the first thing you can do. Realize that you can't get any fitter, and then just try and make sure it's all about getting to the start line feeling nice and fresh. Another mistake I see people making is they drink too much water in the lead up to the event. The intentions are right, so you're trying to make sure you get to the start line really hydrated. So if you drink too much water, particularly if the race is going to be hot, you can actually dilute the electrolytes in your body, so it actually leaves you less hydrated rather than more. One of the good things to do is take something like this, so you can see that, so the precision hydration tablets, they're salt tablets. There's other ones available, but these ones I find quite nice. And what these do, they give you salts in your body, and if you've got salt in your body, it allows your body to absorb more water, so you can be more hydrated for that race. So that's a better approach to do. Take some electrolyte salts in, not in being one big go, but just kind of over time in the lead up to the race, and then you'll be more hydrated for the race. Another mistake people make is they don't actually think about the breakfast that they're going to have before the race. I'm a big fan of fasted training, so I tend to get up in the morning and not eat anything and go and do my training. There's a specific reason for that, I'll cover in another video. So I need to make sure, and I do some sessions where I practice having certain foods that I know are going to fuel me for the race, that I can then actually use in training to make sure I'm used to eating something before I train. So whatever your breakfast is going to be, porridge, toast, whatever you have for breakfast, then make sure you practice eating that a certain amount of time before your race, and then you can race really well on it. The last thing you want to do on race day is get up and go, what shall I have for breakfast today? Not being sure how you're going to race off that. And also sometimes you get races that start like 11:30, 12 o'clock in the morning, so how do you fuel for that? So again, if you have this pre-race breakfast, can you eat it maybe 2-3 hours before the event? And then that you're going to be in good shape. Whatever that pre-race breakfast is, make sure you've practiced it and you can race successfully off that. And another thing as well is if you're staying in a hotel overnight, before your race, is this the kind of breakfast that you can make for yourself, particularly if you've got an early start? Is it something you're going to have to cook or just put in a microwave? Have you got access to that? Maybe you might be camping, so just have a think about that as well. How can you have something that's really easy for you to prepare on race day and that you've practiced using it ready for your race? A big mistake I see people making is that they don't have a plan. You need to go into that race with a plan. For example, if you get in the water, like the open water, if you're a bit nervous, then you can look at the course beforehand and know if you're going to be at the side or the back or what position you're going to be in. Prepare yourself that you're going to let people go first, and then you can start swimming in some clear water. But just have a plan. And then when you get on the bike, how fast are you going to go? It's so easy to get really carried away, particularly if you're nervous about the swim. You get on the bike and you go, woohoo, the swim's out the way, now I'm going to blast it on the bike. Halfway through, you're absolutely exhausted because that first half might have been way harder than you've ever trained. So have some kind of idea of how fast you're going on the bike, whether it's speed, heart rate, power, however you measure your training outside. Then just have some kind of idea of how fast you're going to go, and then you can stick with it and try and be consistent through that race. It's exactly the same when you get to the run. It could be pace, it could be heart rate. You can also use power now. I've got a Stride foot pod, which is brilliant, measures running by power. So however you're going to measure that run, then again stops you from getting too carried away at the beginning and then paying for it at the end. So think about what you're going to do beforehand, and then how you're going to actually implement it on the race day. Also transitions. So, you know, practice your transitions and make sure you've got a clear plan of what you're going to do and when. It's so easy to get carried away when you're in the middle of a race and you get out the swim, and even if you are really happy about the swim being over, then you can just go, where's my bike? You know, how do you find your bike? And then when you get to the bike, what order do I do things in? Practice that first. Make sure you've got a plan already in your mind, so it's muscle memory as well. You can have a smooth transition and get through the race the best way you can. Not having a race plan is a really big mistake that people have. And my fifth and final tip, the biggest mistake I see people make, is not enjoying it. Okay, you've done all that training and people are so worried about it, they forget to actually enjoy it. Just make sure you enjoy it. Think about this beforehand and just take time to go, oh my God, even if you're nervous, how cool is it being a bit nervous and excited going into that race? You know, that's part of the buzz and reason why we do it. So just make sure you enjoy it. If it's a sunny day, your friends are there, just make sure you smile, and you know, you look like you're enjoying it for them as well. You know, just make sure you enjoy that day. It's such a great thing to do, just got to enjoy it, and that's a big mistake I see people making. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you take some of the tips on board and you avoid those big mistakes that I've seen people make. Thanks for watching. Please remember to click subscribe below so you get notified about future videos. And I'll see you in the next video, which is going to be about why you should avoid kicking too hard when you swim.